Happy Friday, gentlemen. I hope that it is the weekend for you, that yours has already begun, as mine has. Once again, fourth block prep every other day for me, which is when these videos oftentimes are made. Thank you for paying your taxes. Here you see the League office, the main link on our website, and League of Classless Gentlemen. Just wanted to make a note of one thing. I know I get super excited for Wednesday ads, even if I'm not adding anyone, just to see how much individuals go for. So a couple housekeeping things here in case you do want to look at that. If you click the free agent auction report, and this is from today, it will show you the bidding every day, how much was bid, who bid, and then you can also toggle various dates. So Wednesday is when most of the ads were made. You can go to that date and it will show you who bid, who was successful, how much money. One other thing to add, if you click free agent auction summary, this will show you through week 6, we're into week 7 now, into really where the rubber meets the road, how much money every team has left. So if you're taking a look at, is Jesse going to bid, are Danny and Ryan going to bid on this player? I see they're kind of weak at this position. It gives you an idea of how much money you might need to pay for a certain player. But moving forward here, we're in week 7. It's really getting to the point of the season where most teams are really getting in some bye issues. Hopefully you already have those out of the way. Sometimes it's a big advantage to just take a loss and get them all out of the way. I looked earlier. I know Brent has a lot of guys on bye this week. He has a matchup with Adam. Here are standings. It's looking like Brent's team is one of the better teams, if not the best. He leads in points on the season. You see the standings there. This is going to be a big week. A lot of these 3-3 teams are playing good teams matched up against teams that they could defeat. Also, the 2-4 teams are very much alive, and I don't want to eliminate anybody from this race. Big week for everyone this week. As far as points for, again, just take a look at that. Know that has been for 3 years the tiebreaker. If you are in a tiebreaker with another team, you're both at what it'd be week 13. So if you're both at 7 and 6, the team is going to get in that has the most points. That is the tiebreaker. So always try to remember that. Play your best players. Just go ahead and take a look at this week's preview. Last week has already been recapped. This week, and again, it may not look the same on your screen, but this is week 7. We are already week 7. Incredible that we're this far into the season. I was playing Jason's team this week. I'm a little fortunate, and this is actually the first time I've been fortunate with a bye. I looked ahead at my schedule, not to be a bitter Barry here, but I went ahead and looked at my schedule a while back to see, who am I facing when that team has a bunch of teams on bye, and that's something to kind of take a look at, especially if you're doing trades, trading for individuals who have had their byes. Big advantage, but this week for Jason, I knew he was without Eddie Lacy, who might be good for him because we don't know what Eddie Lacy's role is. But always those bye players play into these roles quite a bit. I'm going to take a look at this one by the starters, because I'm fairly confident this is who Jason is going to start. And I also think this is who I will probably play, hoping that John Brown moves to probable here. You see his list is questionable. I may play LeGarrette Blount there, depending on how things go with Dion Lewis this week with that injury. I know he's been out this week. That is kind of a matchup that favors Dion Lewis against the Jets team that's pretty good against the run. Jets have a pretty good defense. But just looking at this matchup here, I think I've kind of said this season, I've really, with Big Ben out, it really has just crippled Antonio Brown. So that's something, the ceiling of my team has come down a little bit. Rob Gronkowski has been a guy who's kind of let me down as well. He's only received 10 targets in his last 2 games combined. But I like my running backs a lot. AP has kind of let me down, but Chris Ivory has been the guy I drafted him to be. Looking at Jason's team, really, I think the key to this matchup, and I know that my team is a favorite here, but you see Jason had a solid outing from Seattle. You never want to see Seattle go up against terrible teams because you're just scared they're going to have 2 touchdowns. To me, the big swaying point in this match could be the Martavis Bryant versus Antonio Brown. And if Jarvis Landry is playing versus Big Ben, I do think that favors Bryant. But I think a big moment in this match could be, where does the ball go in Pittsburgh? Who makes that big play? Because if you think about it, if one of them is going to have a 60-yard touchdown, that's 12 points. And that's 12 points that the other receiver is not getting at the same time. I love Charles Clay this week. This is a guy who I would be playing in daily leagues, in like I said, in daily leagues if I could. But I don't like to play guys in daily leagues who I'm playing against in fantasy. For this week's lock of the week, I am picking Lollipop Guild to defeat me. Jason loves being a part of the lock of the week. He's my pick to win this week. Here we have NA against Mr. Luckbox. Break this one down. 10 minutes remaining in my preview. NA on the left, you see they picked up Ryan Fitzpatrick. Sneaky pickup. I like this a lot. New England, easier to throw on them than pass. Additionally, game flow. Something you got to take a look at in fantasy. Ryan Fitzpatrick's team likely to be losing. Likely going to have to throw. Definitely with big receivers against what New England has. Smaller corners. Like that a lot. I think that's a smart play. I actually would, I'd be willing to bet that Fitzpatrick matches Breeze this week. This is a big game. That second bye is up for grabs. Any of the teams, really everyone is still up for that. Just need to get hot. Not a fan of the running backs in this matchup at all. My guess is there are lots of players on bye. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yes. Adam has a lot of guys on bye. He has his Broncos, his Bengals, and his Bear on bye. But you see at the same time, NA, still no name, Aaron Rodgers. So, they're filling some gaps here. My guess is that Adam will pick up a defense and put one in. Well, he already has the Lions. They're going to go in there. He added them today, I believe, for $1 or $2. This matchup to me comes down to upside. And you notice that Adam already has 2 players who have played, so his upside is a little bit limited. This is a tough call for me. Dante Moncrief is the guy a lot of people are super high on. Just because you don't know where the ball is going in Indianapolis, it's hard for me to expect great things out of him. I don't know what his ceiling looks like. DeAndre Hopkins is, until someone doubles him, the best fantasy receiver in football, with especially Antonio Brown and Julio Jones not playing. Carlos Hyde did not do much, but I tell you what, I'm going to roll the upset. I'm going to take Team NA in what I feel is an upset to defeat Mr. Luckbox this week. And really, it's just because I like a lot of his upside receivers. I think, excuse me there, I think all of his receivers get in the end zone. And I don't see as many touchdowns from Luckbox squad, specifically with Jimmy Graham already playing. So I'm going to go ahead and take NA in this matchup. Here we have Team Live Bad, my brother's team, against Simply Simple Victory. And Tyler, I know, is pumped to have Marshawn Lynch back. So maybe this will not take as much analysis with a 20-point lead for Tyler. Luke, you see, is at full strength this week with the exception of Deshaun Jackson. Everybody is playing who it seems like he needs. James Jones, James Stark's out, but Luke can plug guys in. That's not killing him there. Tyler, what's he going to do at quarterback? My thing is, even if Big Ben plays, I think you got to roll with Blake Bortles. I love Blake Bortles. I love the fact that they get down every game. They can't run. Yeldon's hurt. They're a passing team. He's a bad quarterback, great fantasy quarterback, top 8 quarterback the rest of the way. Marshawn gave Ty a 20-point lead. Lamar Miller proved he was not dead last week. Golden Tate, I believe, has 4 straight catches, 4 straight games with 5 catches or more. Jordan Matthews against Carolina, I don't like that matchup at all. I think Carolina is going to control that game, something like 20-10, a low-scoring affair there. I don't see Jordan Matthews having a big game. Todd Gurley and Marshawn Lynch this week. Marshawn already has 20. Gurley, to me, is going to have 120 yards and a touchdown at minimum because St. Louis has shown that they are going to give him the ball even when they're down 2 touchdowns. In the Green Bay game that they were just dominated. Gurley had 30 carries. It's like, are you trying to win or are you trying to showcase your rookie running back? And because of that, despite the fact that Luke does have Tom Brady and Mike Evans is healthy, Greg Olsen is a monster, possibly the #1 tight end this year. I regret the trade that I made, Brady and Olsen for Gronk and Cam, every day. I am going to take Tyler's team, if nothing else, because he has a 20-point lead. Here we have the Butt Buddies, Danny and Ryan against Jesse. Jesse has somewhat salvaged a rocky start to the point where his receivers have been able to find themselves. And if that continues going forward, it'll be one thing. But Jesse's team really looked a little rough a few weeks ago. He eked out a couple wins, but he's right there now at 3-3 where you need to be. Russell Wilson did not have a big game last night, but you'll notice these matchups. I love Mark Ingram and Frank Gore. I think they combined for 3 or 4 touchdowns. If Keenan Allen plays, this is a juicy matchup, 100 yards, possibly a touchdown there. Larry Fitzgerald, a top 5 receiver. Larry Donnell, not a huge fan. He's kind of touchdown or bust. But Justin Forsett is a guy who gets balls out of the backfield when he's healthy. He's a top 12 running back. Looking at Jesse's team, the thing that I do and don't like is this Fitzgerald cover. And I talk about this a lot. I like the fact that you have the quarterback's best target. And because of that, I like Danny's running backs a lot more, I'm going to pick the Butt Buddies in what could be a slight upset here. Although I like the direction Jesse's team is going, this will not be death for him if he does in fact lose. Here we have Ram the Booty against 50 Shades. And Gray today did pick up a couple players, so that is good. I'm assuming he's going to put in, I forget what tight end he added. We can take a look here. Gray is going to be playing, maybe he came up short on that tight end. Anyway, he added some players today, so Gray will complete that roster here. But you look at Chris's team, one of our teams that's higher up in the standings. Andrew Luck looking better. Don't like Julius Randle or Danny Woodhead, but Julio, it seems, is healthy. Amari Cooper, I think we've seen that his ceiling isn't as high, but I like Amari Cooper. Ladarius Green, certainly if Gase doesn't play. Brandon Marshall is a weekly stud. Yeldon, he's got some options with LaFell on his bench. Again, it's just health. Gray's been bitten by the bug all year, really, and he's kind of struggled to place the right pieces in, but injury concerns. I'm going to take Rammer once again. Here we have the Mighty Midgets against its Dez 4-6 in our last matchup of the week. And Adam, actually, who many of us did not predict would have as strong of a season, has done a great job managing his team. And he's found a way to get wins. He survived Peyton going down, Charles going down, and he's right in the thick of things. And if Adam can somehow get a couple wins and get to 5-3 and get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Waiver wire money, anything can happen. This is a guy who I'm typically down on. Julius Thomas saw 13 targets last week. I really like him against a Buffalo team in London. Field could be sloppy. That doesn't hurt the tight end. I like Julius Thomas a lot this week. I would definitely give him the edge over Gary Barnidge, a guy who's been very good for Brent. Brent's had him on his bench for a lot of those games, but last week I think he had something like 4 targets, took 2 of them for touchdowns, had maybe 30 yards. Brent's playing Stephon Diggs, a guy I like. Minnesota said today he may or may not be in the starting lineup there. He was running with the 3s and 4s. Allen Robinson, maybe my favorite player in the NFL. Devonta Freeman, week in and week out, stud. Latavius Murray, where are you at on Latavius Murray, Brent? I mean, he got benched, he fumbled. Game flow, I don't like him as much here in what I think should become a passing game. This might be one week where I'm a little down on Murray, but Brent has a lot of guys out on his bench this week on bye. So he's playing Latavius Murray, and Latavius Murray's a good player. For this week, taking a look at this here, I think Edelman is a guy who's going to get a lot of looks. I like that Adam is no longer playing both Chiefs. It's a cake matchup there. I tell you what, here I'm going to do. I'm going to predict that Mighty Midgets does everyone a favor, knocks off the number 1 seed. It's Dez for 6 on the heels of 2, count them, 2 Charmander West touchdowns, 2 glories, 2 end zone dances, 2 ball spikes, 2 of them. I think that Adam takes it down. Mike Wallace gets deep once. Everybody talking about Diggs. Mike Wallace downtown, touchdown. Adam Brandt gets the win. And I tell you what, guys, looking at the scoreboard going forward into week 8, because you got to be playing ahead. Who do you play? What's it looking like? If you're not looking ahead, you're not going hard enough. And that's what I want to leave you with. You got to go hard or go home, boys. Hard or home. Ooh. It's going to be a big one right there. That'll be a big one. Huge one. Lock of the week next week. Right there. We're brought to you by Tesla.